So I hope you all have had a very Merry Christmas and a Happy Holiday, and 2019 is starting to wind down. I know, I'm just as surprised as you are. Time flies when you're having fun, and it's time for me to do my top 10 best movies of 2019. 2019 was kind of a special year for me because I graduated high school back in May, and ever since April, I've been writing my own screenplay. I'll go more into details into that in the future. And when it comes to movies, it was a pretty good year. We've had a lot of fantastic movies. I'm here today to count down my top 10 favorite movies of 2019. And just like with every other list I make, I always say this. None of this is fact. It's very subjective. It's my personal picks for my favorite movies of the year. If you agree, that's great. If you disagree, that's totally fine. As long as we can get along and respect our opinions, we're good. And also, I want to make one thing perfectly clear, and that is, I did not see every movie that came out this year. There were unfortunately some movies that I had to miss out on. Like, for example, I did not see Jojo Rabbit, I did not see The Farewell, and I did not see Little Women. Even if I did see those movies, would they have made my list? That's the thing. There's no guarantee. So don't go in the comments and be like, oh, where's this movie? Where's this movie? Just, this is why I'm sorry. I also watched 2 movies recently that I did not review, but they made my list anyway. I won't say what they are, but you'll see. Now, before we get into the top 10 list, I'm going to start with some honorable mentions. These are the movies that sadly did not make my top 10 list, but I'm going to give them a shout out anyway because they were great. A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World. Knives Out. Shazam. And Spider-Man: Far From Home. Alright, enough jibber jabber, let's get into it. These are my top 10 best movies of 2019, and let's start the list with number 10. Rocketman. When it comes to Elton John's music, I'm a huge fan, and I was really curious in seeing how Rocketman would portray Elton John's life, and it succeeded my expectations. Rocketman was a blast from start to finish. It was stylish, it was fun, it was colorful, it was vibrant. It did a really good job depicting Elton John's rise of his career to the downfall of his career. And when it got to the serious moments, it was legitimately emotional. They could not have picked a better actor to play Elton John than Taron Egerton. He gave probably the best performance of his entire career in it, and he's definitely worthy of a Best Actor nomination for sure. Uncut Gems. The Safdie brothers once again knocked it out of the park with Uncut Gems, and I thought it was even better than their last film, Good Time. Adam Sandler gave not only a career best performance in it, but he gave probably the best performance I've seen all year in any movie. I hope he gets an Oscar nomination because he absolutely deserves it. Uncut Gems was intense, it was exhilarating, it was stressful, it gave me anxiety. Go out and see it in theaters if you can. Avengers Endgame. The past 10 years of the MCU finally came to a culmination, and man did Endgame deliver. Endgame was a fantastic conclusion to a 10-year saga. Even though the MCU technically is not over, they still have more movies planned for the next upcoming years. Endgame was a great conclusion to the Infinity Saga. And that final battle at the end is still the best scene in any movie that has come out this year. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Quentin Tarantino is one of the best filmmakers working today, and he once again crushed it with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It had a great cast like Leonardo DiCaprio, Brad Pitt, Margot Robbie. They all gave great performances as usual. And it was also a really good love letter to 1960s Hollywood. It's also quite possibly the funniest movie I've seen all year. The final 10 minutes had me dying with laughter. No other scene in any movie that has come out this year has left me laughing that hard than the ending of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Marriage Story.
Of all the movies I saw this year in 2019, no other movie had better acting than Marriage Story. I'm gonna keep it real with you guys, but I think Scarlett Johansson and Adam Driver gave some of the best performances I've seen in any movie in my entire life in Marriage Story. It also did a brilliant and genius job depicting divorce, because divorce is always known as this really sad and heartbreaking thing, and no other movie has done a better job portraying that subject matter than Marriage Story. Alright guys, we finally made it to the top 5. So what is it? What is my number 5 pick? Well, without further ado, here it is.
Parasite.
Surprise, I finally got a chance to watch Parasite, and was it just as good as everyone else said it was? The short answer is yes. Bong Joon-ho did a masterful job directing Parasite. It was brilliant, it was genius, it was clever, it was funny too. Like, there were scenes where I was genuinely laughing hard, and it was thought-provoking too. The best way to sum it up is, think of Get Out, but take away all the racial stuff in it, and you have a really profound message about how the rich view the poor, and it was just a damn great movie. If you guys missed out on seeing Parasite in theaters, definitely watch it when it's available on VOD, because it's absolutely worth your time.
Toy Story 4.
Did we really need Toy Story 4, especially after Toy Story 3's beautiful ending? Honestly, no, but hey, Pixar gave it to us anyway, and it was great. In my opinion, Toy Story 4 is the best animated movie of the year, and if they ruined or destroyed it, I would have been crushed. But thankfully, they knew what they were doing. I love the new characters too, like Forky, Ducky and Bunny, Duke Kaboom, and I thought Gabby Gabby was a great villain. She was different compared to the previous villains in the previous Toy Story movies, because you actually feel bad for her, and she was more of a sympathetic and misunderstood character. And raise your hand if the ending made you cry. Yep, I admit it, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. However, Disney, if you're watching this video, no more Toy Story. Do not make a Toy Story 5. This was a really good stopping point for the franchise, and it was a really good ending for Woody's character arc, so no more Toy Story.
Joker.
Of all the superhero and comic book related movies that has come out this year, Joker is my favorite. They did a brilliant job showing the origin story of probably the biggest psychopath in pop culture history. They could not have picked a better actor to play Joker than Joaquin Phoenix. He gave a career best performance, and I really hope he gets a Best Actor nomination. What I truly loved about Joker was it didn't feel like a superhero movie. I mean, technically, yes, it is a DC movie, and it is set in the Batman universe, but regardless, it felt like an actual movie. And also, what I loved about it too was it was thought-provoking. If Joker was an actual person, how would we treat him? Would we treat him like an outcast of society? Or would we treat him like an actual human being? It had you thinking twice about his character. If DC wants to go down this new direction when it comes to their movies, I'm totally supportive of it.
The Irishman.
Martin Scorsese, you've done it again, my friend. You never fail to make me happy. The Irishman is yet again another fantastic addition to your filmography. You got the best filmmaker of all time working with some of the best actors of all time. Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, and Joe Pesci. They once again crushed it. And do they deserve Oscar nominations? Absolutely. When you compare The Irishman to Scorsese's other gangster films from the past, like Goodfellas and Casino, it was different. It was profound. It was thought-provoking, and it was even emotional. The ending was really emotional. The Irishman is streaming right now on Netflix, so if you guys have not seen it yet, absolutely watch it. Oh, but it's 3.5 hours long. Okay, so you can binge watch an entire show, but you can't watch one movie? Makes sense. Alright guys, this is it. The moment we've all been waiting for. We finally made it to number 1. So what is it? What is my number 1 choice? What is the movie I saw this year that I loved the most? What is the movie that made me hooked from start to finish? What is the movie I saw this year that had resonated with me the most? Well, without further ado, here it is. My number 1 choice is...
The Lighthouse.
Yep, I finally got a chance to see The Lighthouse, and after watching it, all I can say is, I'm happy to have it be my number 1 favorite movie of the year. The Lighthouse is the reason why I love movies. It's the reason why I do this for you guys. It's the textbook reason for how to make a movie and how to succeed at it. I think calling The Lighthouse well made would be an understatement. When I watched it, I literally felt like I was watching a classic horror film from the 1920s. Director Robert Eggers did a masterful job directing this movie, and it paid off. First of all, Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe gave career best performances in it, and they were flawlessly casted. I hope Willem Dafoe gets a Best Supporting Actor nomination, because he damn well deserves it. Now, I've seen a lot of horror movies recently, and of all the ones I've seen recently, no other horror movie left me more creeped out, more disturbed, and more claustrophobic than The Lighthouse. And I didn't even see this in theaters. I watched it on my freaking iPad, for God's sake. I don't know why, but The Lighthouse reminds me of that SpongeBob episode where SpongeBob and Mr. Krabs try to kill the health inspector. I don't know why, I just got that vibe from it. And that is why The Lighthouse is my favorite movie of 2019. Once again, that's it for this year. That's a wrap on my top 10 best movies of 2019. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Which picks do you think are the 10 best? Just leave them in the comments below. So stay tuned for some upcoming videos that will be coming out in the next few days or so. And that includes my best movies of the decade video and my top 10 most anticipated movies of 2020 video. So stay tuned for those videos. And as always, if you want to see more of my videos, just be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more great content.